Hello, this is Chris Crawford, and we are winding down our instructional video series on how to use the TYPO3 system to maintain your knife making website. And we are continuing here with Gene Ingram's site to use it as an example for our videos. And so in previous videos we've had an overview. We've looked at the home page, available knives, example knives, knife gallery. And in this final video, we're going to combine these two, knife info and the contact page. And so when I convert a site over from BladeMakers, what I'll try to do is I'll try to bring the structure in, as you have it on your website. And so there may be additional pages that you're wanting on there. There may be, as we talked about last time in the knife gallery, there may be sub pages where you may want sub galleries, like you may have one for folders, one for fixed blades and stuff like that. But the nice thing about this system is very flexible, and it's really a nice hybrid between a site like BladeMakers, where you're kind of locked into everything with forms and everything has to work the same way, with a fully custom site. The hybrid being that you can still manage your content through forms, but every site can be a little bit different from the other one, and they don't all really pretty much look alike. Although, that being said, as I am converting these sites, I am going to have kind of a standard look and feel that I'll be using as I bring them over, such as, header, big header at the top, menu across, menu bar right here, some type of banner, and the information. Alright, well, let's look at the knife info on Gene's site. Okay, so if we look at this knife info on Gene's site, we've got basically what we would equate to our banner over on the new site, knife related information. And then we have a little block of text. Here's some knife related information that you may be interested in. As you can see here, I brought that over. Basically, I did a pretty much an exact port of the information from his current site over here. And so this is regular case, this is all caps, and so I just brought it over that same way since he already had it that way. And so with each of these little paragraphs, there's a header, and then the content, and then a header and content, header, content, header, content. When we look at this is what we see as well. So we see our banner, or our main page title, I guess you'd say. See our little block of descriptive text, and then we see a header, content, header, content, header, content, header, content. Now, this should be pretty easy because these are concepts that we've seen before, but let me go to the knife info page, and we'll look at these different blocks of content. So you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks of content. Now, I could have done everything on this page in one big block of content, one big text content block. For instance, in this text box right here, I could have gone in here and typed everything that I wanted to type the information for the whole page, and saved it, and it'd be good to go. Alright? Well, why didn't I do that? Well, I didn't do that. I broke the content up for manageability. Alright, so I'll show you here this in just a second here. But basically, each one of these is its own content element. And so I have knife related information, that's the banner. I have the description. Now, within each of these paragraphs, like right here, like this guarantee, if you look right here, I have a smaller header, and then I have the content. Okay, but this is just one block. So this is one content block. My mouse is giving me trouble this morning. This is one content block, this is one content block, so on and so forth. Okay, so when we pull it up, we see here that we have a guarantee, and then that's basically just bold text, and then we have the information here, and then that's why it shows up. So let's go in here, and I'm going to add one more piece of information. I'm going to add another content block, and so we're going to do new content, and this is going to be a regular text element. Now I could go in here and add a header right here, but I like the smaller right here. I like it just that it's bold. So that's what I'm going to keep with. So I'm going to put in here new, and I think I'll do it all caps, new content, hit enter. I can highlight this, I can bold it, alright. I can make it italics. I can do some other stuff in here. I can add, some color, some of these frames. I think we've talked about this before, but I'll just show you again. If I have some content, I can highlight that, and I can select some of these styles. Now, this style 1 and style 2, I can set that to be any color that you want it to be. Those are just the default colors. But anyway, let me go in here and type in some content. So, content for the website. All right, let's save and view it. Scroll down our page, here's new content. Here's some new content for the website. And so it's really that simple to add content to the knife info section. Alright. Now, what's the advantage to breaking up our paragraphs or our different, the different things that we want to show? What is the advantage of breaking those up? I mean, I could have just as easily gone in here and in this one, I'm going to add some more content just for an example. So I could have gone in here, hit a couple spaces, and say here's some more. So N-T-E-N-T. I can't type content evidently. All right, bold. I could have done this and just gone all the way down, the page and put each one of these content blocks in. Look at it on the site here, just like that. And so why is it that I separated them? Well, the reason for separating them is because if they're separated, I can do individual things with them. For instance, if I want to stick this new content block, or let's use this guarantee. If I want to stick the guarantee block above the cost and payment, instead of me having to go in there and edit the content and move stuff around that way, all I have to do is simply drag and drop it. Oop, I dropped it too soon. Drag and drop it. You'll see the area that I can drop it in showing red, and when I get my content over it, it turns green. So I can simply release it. So now if I refresh the page, so I have my guarantee first. Okay, so it makes it very easy to manipulate content. So there, I slid it back in place, and so cost and payment should be first. Also, suppose that I want to remove some content. Well, I can simply delete the content element that I created. So this is the new one I created, so it's okay for me to delete it. Refresh the page, and that content element is gone. Or suppose I may want to make sure I didn't delete anything I didn't need to. Or suppose I want to temporarily hide something. So maybe I want to temporarily hide the guarantee. I can mouse over it and I can flip the switch to hide. Alright. Now, okay, I want to show you something. Let's see. Alright, yeah, so there it is. It's got the little icon there, the red icon showing that it's hidden. And when I mouse out of it, even though these other icons are grayed out right here, you can see this whole content block is grayed out for the guarantee. But I can mouse over it and it comes into focus. So let's look at the page. So the guarantee is gone from there. Let's go turn that back on. Refresh our page, and the guarantee is back. And so that's how the knife info works. Now, if you look at the old site, I'm kind of doing something different. Now what Gene did here is he chose to, on the knife info site, the main page, put all this content on one page, which is what I'm doing right here. Now in the old site, I think when I originally designed it, the idea was that you would have like these are all links, and so cost and payment, you click on that and then we go to a cost and payment page and you'd have a lot of information, but or like guarantee. But there was no reason to have a whole page just to have this one sentence about the guarantee. And so I think this is the reason that he did it like this. And in fact, it really makes sense. Now suppose you want a page, maybe you want to talk about under knife info, maybe you want a little description on Damascus and the different types of Damascus, or how to finish Damascus, or something like that. You may not want to have all that. Like say you got three, right here he has 1, 2, 3, he has 4 types of, 4 different types of information. Suppose you have some types of information that are really long, like like finishing Damascus, or something like that, or how you go about it, and you're wanting to put all that information on a page. Well, you're not going to want to put all that on one page with this other information. So if that's the case, then and I'll look at your site and try to replicate it the best I can to kind of get you going. But if that's the case, then under knife info we may have a sub page that says finishing Damascus. And then maybe there's another page that says knife care, how to care for your knives, after you receive your knife, or something like that. Whatever, it doesn't matter, whatever you want. We can have multiple pages, but in this case, since all of his content was short, it was all combined into one page. And so that's one thing that's a little bit different from what he has here. Well, actually, it's what I did is exactly what he has here, but how these are links that go to another page, these aren't. These are just, it is what it is. It's just the information right there. All right, so that's the knife info page and knife info sub pages if you have them. Hopefully that's easily understandable. Just like before, if we're in the front end, we do have the front end edit icons where we can edit the content right there. And then if you're using Google Chrome, you can make a change and do save and close, and the page will automatically refresh when you do. So there's our 1, 2, 3. I'll go ahead and take that back off. Save and close. IE and Chrome, I'm not sure. I mean, IE and Firefox, Safari, the other ones, I'm not sure if when you do save and close, if you have to manually refresh the page to see the change, or if it refreshes automatically. So you'll just have to, if you make the change from the front end, you do save and close, and you don't see it change, then just refresh your page. And if you don't see it after clicking the reload, then do the F5, and it should refresh fine. Alright, well, let's take a look at the contact page. So the contact page is pretty much your standard contact page where we have a form that the visitors can fill the form out, hit send email, and just like the button says, you'll receive an email from the visitor, and in the content of the email will contain their name, the email address, the subject, as to why. It's not the subject of the email, but the subject as to why they're contacting you, and any comments or whatever that they have. So this is the form. Now below the form we have his address. We have Gene's address, his contact information there, and his phone number. This is optional. You don't have to have this on here. I don't have it on my website, but I did put it on Gene's because we have that right here on the old BladeMakers site. So I'll bring that over. Now one thing that I'll not do, you can go back and add this if you like to. You can add it yourself, or you can tell me and I can do it if you want me to. But by default, I'm not going to put your email address on this page, and the reason is because we have the contact form. On my personal website, I don't have my email address anywhere on there. If somebody wants to contact me, they use the contact form. The reason is this protects you from like robots scanning your sites, to extract email addresses and then put you on email lists and those kinds of things. And so it kind of helps protect your email address by not having it on your site, since there is a way for people to contact you using the contact page. Alright, well, let's look at this in the back end. On the contact page, we have the header, which is right here. We have the form, and then we have the contact text. I'll just call it that at the bottom. So it's the contact text. So we'll look at that first. This is basically just a text element like we saw before, like we were using on the knife info page, and you can type whatever you want there and save it. And in fact, above the form, if we wanted to type something in here, we could. In fact, we could go in here and add a new piece of content, regular text element, and we'll say, you know, please submit the form, and I'll respond as soon as I can. Save and close, and then we'll refresh the page. And so see, we've got some contact information right here. Please submit the form, or some text right there. And so you can add text anywhere that you want in a page. That's one thing that's really nice about this. Let's go ahead and delete it. So I'm not going to leave it on there. Alright, so our header, just like we've seen before, here's your header. The form. Now the form is not something you're going to want to mess with. TYPO3 is a pretty complex system, especially for myself as an administrator. There's a lot of things that I can turn on and off and prevent users from making changes to. I have not fully explored that, so right now I don't have this as something that I can just turn off and keep anyone from changing. But basically, if you go into this form content element and you go to the form tab, this is the I guess the program for laying out the form. And so if you mess with this, you could break the way the form works, so please don't mess with it. If I can figure out a way to lock it down, I'll do that, just so that it doesn't accidentally get changed. But basically, one thing I do want to show you in here are these 4 lines. And so the recipient email is geneingram@hughes.net. And so when somebody hits the send email button, this determines who it goes to. The sender email field says visitor email, and so whatever the visitor puts in here will be the return address. Okay, so whatever they put in there, when you receive the email, it'll show it's from them. The name, it'll attach their name as well. Whatever they put in here, it'll show that it comes from them. Now, whatever they put in the subject is not going to show up as the subject of the email. The subject of the email in this case is always going to be Gene Ingram Knives Contact. Now, I could make it where the subject, whatever they put in here, shows up as the subject of the email, but I'm not doing that for one very technical reason. All right, so hang with me as I explain this. Now think about this. If somebody fills this out and they put their email address as, like for mine, Chris Crawford at yahoo.com, and I send this, in my email, it shows up, it's going to show up as it being from Chris Crawford at yahoo.com. However, is that where this email came from? Did it come from Yahoo? It did not. Okay, and because it did not come from Yahoo, most email systems are going to either reject it or send it to the spam folder. All right, and I'm going to flip over to my site and show you an example of this in just a minute. Now, in fact, I'll tell you what, this would probably be a good time to do that right now. So let me log. In fact, I won't even have to log in. I'll just go here and go to my email. Alright, so here's my email, and I'm going to go to my website, Chris Crawford Knives, and I'm going to go to contact. I'm going to send myself an email. So let's see, name, say Chris Crawford, and I'm going to use my Yahoo address, chriscrawford@yahoo.com, and the subject is testing the email, and comments is a test of the email. Alright, so I'm going to send this, and I want to point out something before we switch over there and look. So I'm going to say send the email, and you notice after you send an email, it goes to a thank you page, and I'll show you about that here in just a minute. Now if I switch over here to my email, it shows that CCK contact, Okay, so that's what I have for me for my website, to always show the subject as CCK contact. When I click on this, you see this right here? This message was not sent to spam because of a filter you created. Now by default, it would have tried to send this message to my spam folder. Why? Well, because it says that it's from Yahoo, but it did not actually come from Yahoo. Where did it come from? It came from the TYPO server. Now Yahoo, to me, if you have a Gmail account and you get an email from somebody from Yahoo, I mean, it seems to automatically dump it in that spam folder if you don't have a rule set up, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. Some other systems, you know, it may allow it in, no problem. But Gmail, it seems like that if you get one from Yahoo and it says it came from Yahoo, but it didn't actually come from Yahoo, it's going to put it in your spam folder. Now, this says this message was not sent to spam because of a filter you created. Basically what I did in Google is I created me a filter that said anything coming with the subject CCK contact, do not put in spam. Alright, so this goes back to why right here for the subject we're always going to send Gene Ingram Knives contact for his site, for my site it's CCK contact. Okay, it's always going to be that, so that it meets my rule. Now I want to show you real quick in Google how I did this rule. I created this document showing how this works, and so I'll give you this document if you have a Google account. In fact, I would maybe even suggest create you a specific Google account, you know, for receiving these messages, or we can send it to your other account. It's just on these other systems you'll be responsible for figuring out, and I can help you maybe if I can, but for figuring out how to create a rule and to figure out whether or not this email may be being delivered into spam. But basically this form just shows that you're going to go and click on the settings, and then you'll select filter and blocked addresses, like right here, create new filter, and then enter the specific value supplied, which in my case is CCK contact. In Gene's case, it'll be Gene Ingram Knives contact. So you'll just put that in the subject field, and then you'll say create filter with this search, and then on the next page check never send it to spam, and then create filter. So basically what it's saying is that any email that comes in with the subject CCK contact, never send it to spam. Always deliver it to my inbox, and so that's why that message showed up there. Alright, so notice after we sent that message, it comes in and it says thank you for contacting Chris Crawford Knives. Well, if we look in the back end and we see the contact page, there's a little arrow. This is a drop down. We have a hidden page, which is our thank you page, and on our thank you page we have two content elements. We have the banner, and actually I'm looking at two different sites here, but that's fine. We have the banner, and then we have the content for the page. And so here's the banner, and then here's the content, and it's just a regular text element. You can edit it. You can put anything that you want in there. I just have on this one, thank you for contacting us. We'll try to respond as soon as possible. On mine, you know, I have like a bold little mini header there, and that's pretty much it. So that's the thank you page. All right. So that's pretty much everything. If we go back and look, that covers pretty much all the content that is on this test site. Now there's one other thing at the bottom, it's the footer. I don't know if I've mentioned how to edit the footer before, but I'll mention it now. For the footer, we just have copyright 2017 Gene Ingram Knives. We need to update this each year, and this is just a text element, so you can do it yourself. 2017. I do have this tag on here, site designed by Chris Crawford Knives. I would appreciate it maybe if you would leave that on there. In fact, if we look at the footer where we can edit this content, we have one content block, and so here's where that information is. I could put whatever I wanted in the footer. You see on my footer, I have my address on here. I have Facebook and a YouTube little icon. so somebody can go to my Facebook or my YouTube page by clicking there. So whatever you want in the content, we'll put in there. I do ask if you don't mind just leaving this site design. I'm kind of hoping that maybe it'll generate some other interest in some custom websites. From there, in fact, I may separate this off into a separate content element so that when you're editing your footer, you can just put whatever you want in there and not worry about that part of it. But that pretty much covers everything on the site. Now, with Gene's BladeMaker site, it's www.geneingramknives.com. Over here, I have this. This is just temporary location right here for setting the site up. So you'll have a temporary location for setting the site up, and after everything's approved, after everything you like everything, and we're kind of done with the initial setup, then what we'll do is switch your name. Even if your name's like a regular, chriscrawfordknives.blademakers.com, we'll switch it over to the new site and take care of that. Also, with Gene's, like he has www.geneingramknives.com. What I'll probably do is have his new site just be geneingramknives.com. A lot of websites are dropping the www. However, I'll have a redirect, so if somebody does put www in there, or if maybe you have that on a business card or whatever, you can continue to put www in there, and it will just basically redirect to the root geneingramknives.com. Like for right here, I have chriscrawfordknives.com, like that. So there's that. Anybody who has a site that still says BladeMakers.com, it's not a big deal to switch it to a personal domain and still have both the old BladeMakers.com address to point to the new site, and that's what's nice about this system. We can have as many names as we want pointing to the current site. If you do have a custom domain name like Gene, I think it's like $20 a year extra, because that's just helps pay for the domain registration, name registration. Alright, well, I think that is it, and with that we will conclude our instructional video series, and I will at this point start building out websites. One thing that hopefully you will receive is some kind of, I haven't figured out how I'm going to do it, some kind of survey or something where I'll let you go in there and pick your colors. I'll give you a website that's got some background images that you can use on here. Just some general information like that I would need to get started on your website. So the ones who have expressed interest in having a new website, I'll be trying to pull that information together and getting it to you. And I'll be trying to work on these in the order that I came in, that they've that people mentioned that they wanted them. So, all right. Well, thanks a lot. Thanks for your patience. I know this has kind of run long, but I appreciate it, and we will conclude the video series now. Thanks.